Hi, this is Keaton Carr with another one of my 1/12 scale Street Fighter figure reviews. This time it's for the Storm Arena Street Fighter 03, Street Fighter Alpha 3 in the West, Ryu. Now let's just take a look at the outside packaging first. You can clearly see the profile of Ryu. And I'll scroll it around to the side. Again, matching profile on the back there with the text from the game's intro. And we can see multiple versions of the figure in a montage there on the back. I'll just point out the top right hand corner, which is one of my favorite images of Ryu from Street Fighter 03 Alpha 3, is I believe it's the winning pose, which has his ribbons cascading wildly around. And I wished, that is a bit of a spoiler, but I wish that was in the box if they had them flared rather than just straight. But you'll see that on the figure. So we'll scroll around to the other side, again matching, and the figure in the box. So let's get this figure out and we'll have a look at not only the inside of the box and the sleeve, but also the problems I don't like. But here we are, we'll get to it. Right, just before we get a look at the figure, I'll just quickly show you the inside of the box, because there's a lovely sunset and bonsai backdrop to it, which you could use to display the figure. Quite nice. And also the usual figure stand for posing, both nice to have. So we'll move on to the main figure itself. In the packaging, it comes with what I don't like, which I may have said before in the Ken review, which is the cellophane over the top of the figure, distorting what you can see in the box. I'd prefer to just see the figure itself. So we'll take it out and we'll have a look at what we've got. I'll take all packaging away. And we'll take out the figure and show the accessories. First off, we have a blue Hadouken fireball, solid piece of plastic this time. We know that the knockoff Ryu had a two-part, very squidgy plastic fireball. Not so in this case. Nice fading from the tip to the blue flame tip at the end. So that's a nice piece to have. And we've got an extra set of hands on the figure and an extra head as well. Let's get that out. And we'll just have a look first at the extra head. Nicely detailed on that. And the extra headband, which I would prefer that it wasn't just a straight headband this time. If you saw the back of the box on my favourite pose of Ryu, it's almost it's in motion. It's it's been affected by movement or a breeze, which in the winning pose, sort of Ryu's ribbons were sort of wafting in the breeze, and I think they should have done something a little more elaborate with this. It is just a couple of features, but I thought it was worth a look at. And as I say, the portrait that we've got here, let's bring it centralized, is really quite nice. Your plug point for the hair, and yeah, really good. So we'll put that down there and we'll have a look at the Hadouken hands, which are clearly been made for that very thing. Hadouken. And these are just friction resistant with their pegs. So that's that. And we'll get along to the main figure. out of its box and out of its packaging, we have Storm Arena Ryu. I do like the static face as well. I think it's very good. I'm a big fan of Jada toys. I make no secret about that. That is my favourite of the Street Fighter figures, and I've collected pretty much every single figure released for the Jada Street Fighter 2. I am getting the Kith exclusive Black Ryu. At some point in time, I will get one. But overall, for this one, really well sculpted. Street Fighter Alpha 3 is my second favourite of the Street Fighter games. I even bought it on Game Boy Advance, and that's a really good version actually, the Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, and the PSP as well. So, bit of a fan of this license. So when Storm Arena announced they were doing this, I jumped on the Ken straight away, and subsequently I've purchased the main releases, I will say. I didn't go for the exclusives. I didn't go for the ISM figures that are a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, and I certainly have, I would say, benefited from that in hindsight because of the QC problems that Storm Arena has had. Certainly not with the main figures, but as at the point of filming this video, Sagat is imminent for release, and I have seen the figure at the Animo Expo has a discoloured chest in the first batch, and I have ordered the Sagat figure. I will not collect any Player 2 versions from Storm Arena. I'm just going to focus on the main line. Jada is my passion for collecting the Player 2s and every figure involved. You know, that's my line. So I'm happy to get Storm Arena, but I will just stay on to the Player 1 versions. Nothing special. The ISM figures, which are sort of, you know, the purple jello style, I may get those. The translucency appeals to me because I have seen that it's pretty easy to make great effect figures by just using parts from those ISM figures onto the actual main figures that we see here, that you can actually, you know, change the hands, change the arms, change the faces to have it almost like a charging up. And that's a great idea. When I saw it, I was like, of course, why didn't anybody else think of that? Or why didn't I think of that? Certainly when I saw them, I just thought about them as sort of standalones in box collecting that I normally do. I don't really display any of my figures. I have them as in-box collector. That's just my choice for space, I think, more than anything else. I do have a lot of things in boxes that I really shouldn't, but it's nice to get these out and have a look at them, as you can see. So all I'm doing at the moment is just messing around and seeing what this figure can do pose-wise. And there's no complaints with this so far. Really solid. The sculpt is really impressive. I really do like the Alpha 3 Storm sculpt. You know, I'm not someone who says, oh, you know, Jada was my line, so the sculpting is infinitely better. I'm you know, pro Jada. Yes, I am. But I'm smart enough to know when something else comes along that's better. Certainly sculpting. And, you know, I don't think it has as much presence for me as the Jada figures do. But I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't impressed enough to collect these. But then I collect the knockoffs too, and I'm happy with those. I don't think I'd spend the full price on any of the Storm collectible lines. Storm Arena is hit at a price point for me that's in, you know, a comparable price to Jada. And these, you know, it started off at the $20 figure, and now mostly they're $29.99, you know, or £25. I'm happy to pay that. You know, I know exactly what I want to pay, and I'm happy with these figures for that price. I think that's why I was sort of put off a bit by the exclusives for Storm Arena, that there were going to be limited numbers anyway. I'd heard 400, and you know, they were in the, you know, nearly £100 price, and for a figure that doesn't come with anything other than an alternate suit colour, paying that kind of money, I couldn't. My personal one with Jada at the moment was the Street Fighter 2 Entertainment Earth Cami. Now that one was a silver edition from Entertainment Earth, and it was going to cost me £77 to get it in the UK through Entertainment Earth. So I had to go through AliExpress for mine. But you know, that's really, you know, the end of the day, I've ended up paying £35 rather than 77. So I'm happy, but certainly with the paint issues that Storm has had, it's not on this. And I'm, you know, messing around with it now, twisting. You know, I can't fault this. This is really good. It's not falling apart like the knockoffs do, but that's more the fact that they're just stiff, or, you know, out of their box. They're not really pegged down too well, so they're falling apart on the knockoffs. But from what I've been messing with this, I will say there's been no problems with any of the joints. With Quinn Lee, I was nervous about bending it and putting it out of shape. Not so here. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That's really good. That's really, really good. Posability is there. The flexibility is there. You know, he can kick his own back. I mean, in my Ken review, he was holding his own toes. So that shows you the amount of flexibility and articulation with these Storm Arenas. I recommend them. I do. I'm waffling on, but I'm not recommending them beyond the basic lines. I've ordered up to and including Charlie at the moment. Sagat is imminent, as I said. Dan and Nash, I think his other name is for Charlie. So I've ordered those, but Player 2's, no, not for Storm Arena for me. That may change with other lines, like Darkstalkers, for instance. I'm going to get those. Player 2's, I don't know. I guess it's a case-by-case basis, or what I see. Actually, while the hand is off, let's change the hands over. So we'll put the, hopefully the right hand on the right side. I won't bother changing the ribbons. I don't think they're that different, really. I mean, look, what difference is that compared to the other? This is what I was talking about. They really needed to be sufficiently different, and they're just not. If you're going to change the head, if you're going to have a different head, you know, there's a clear difference. There's a clear difference. So why not change the ribbons as well? There's no point having two exactly the same, and that's basically what you've got here with this. There's no real difference. This one spare should have been flowing. It should have been in motion. As it is, no real difference, and a waste of time, to be perfectly honest with you. But while we're here, let's have a look at the details on the back. You can clearly see the stressing on the fabric gi, soft, malleable plastic or rubber, whatever it is, from the belt, and obviously all the definition and shading on the gi, shredding as well on the ankles and the shoulders. But overall, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 as a figure. Why am I bringing it and only a 9 rather than being a 10 out of 10 or a 9.5? It's the ribbon. I wanted better. I don't think there's any harm in wanting to improve a figure that's already almost perfect. Why not strive for perfection? And I think the ribbon would have been a nice bonus to have it really wild and you know, something that you could clearly see was different from the one that's already on the figure, and I don't think that's too much to ask. Twist at the wrist. Nice articulation. Overall, nicely sculpting on the chest, the arms, all the muscle separation, the shading on there, the pivoted toes. Really nice. So yeah, it's a 9 out of 10 for me on this. Can't give it a 10 out of 10 because, or 9.5, because I really wanted the headband to be different and something a little more than basic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this fella back into shot and we'll have a look at them side by side. So here we have them side by side, the authentic and original Storm Arena Street Fighter 03 Ryu and the Storm knockoff 1/12 scale. Is it really? I guess it's a 1/12 in Storm Collectibles sort of knockoff scale, which it is a knockoff figure of that original Storm Collectibles Ryu. In comparison, I say that for my money, the Street Fighter 2 has the better sculpting for Street Fighter Ryu that I know and love, you know, the classic Street Fighter Ryu, but there is no denying that the Street Fighter Alpha 3 Ryu is a great figure. I have to be honest, I much prefer the baggier gi on the Street Fighter 2 Ryu than the drain pipe trousered version that to me looks a little more like a G.I. Joe kind of, you know, sculpting. It's too drain pipe. It's not baggy and loose the way a gi should be. This is too form-fitting on the legs, in my opinion. I much prefer the baggy or loose drape that you can clearly see here, the sculpted details on the knockoff, with the sort of bagginess. There is some of it in the base of the gi, but overall this kind of thinner drain pipe look on the legs compared to the upper gi, I think these look a little bit too different, if that makes any sense, in the way that the gi looks on the figure. I'm sure, you know, when you get to posing, you know, you can see the sort of the detail in the pants is there, but they are really close fitting on the legs. You know, I think Jada does gi lower halves looking better for the thigh detail, but it's hard to deny that this is, as I said, for me a 9 out of 10 figure. It's not perfect, and I think improvements could be made on the figure to just bring it up to that 9.5 and, you know, almost give it that this is a perfect Ryu kind of status, by changing the ribbon on the figure, as I said, and also making the gi a little bit looser on the upper thigh section. You know, the shins and the calves, they're fine. You know, the bagginess is clearly there, but it's not as detailed being baggy on the thighs, and I think that's where I can look at it and go, yeah, that needs to look a little bit more, you know, animated or baggy, you know, essentially not looking so drain pipey. But basically, that's the end of my review. Thanks for watching. The next video will be the Dark Knight Vigilante from Chaos Toys, The Dark Knight Returns Batman. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please share, like and subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. If you think I'm rambling too much, let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care.